From the NIRSA Championship Studios in Tallahassee, Florida, I'm David Peters, and this is the road to the 2024 NIRSA National Soccer Championships presented by Precari Sweat. It's our 30th year of NIRSA National Soccer Championships, and we're excited to welcome 96 collegiate teams to Round Rock, Texas, November 21st through 23rd. Coming up in this show, we'll divide all of those teams into pools for the first day of competition on Thursday, November 21st. We've got Women's Open, Women's Championship, Men's Open, and Men's Championship, the 4 different divisions. We'll get it all sorted out, and we'll tell you all about the pools today. Plus, Marty Dempsey will join from Gainesville with some special guests to talk about the tournament experience. But first, let's begin in our championship division, where we have 24 teams on the women's side, and they've qualified through regional tournament action over the last several weeks or were selected as at-large selections to compete for the national championship. Here on the championship division side, we have 8 total pools. There are 3 teams in each pool, and to make it into the championship playoffs, you just have to be in the top 2. The third place team will move into a consolation bracket separately. All right, we'll begin with Pool A, and it includes UCLA leading it off, 6-2-0 this year. They are the Region 6 co-champion and the reigning national champ. They were the Open champ in 2022 as well. They're joined by Michigan State at 11-1-1 out of Region number 3. They made the quarterfinals for the last 2 years on the championship division. And UMass is joining here. They're 9-2-1 this year out of Region 1. There's their first appearance in the championship division in the last decade. All right, over in Pool B, we've got going for you Boston College, North Carolina, and UC Santa Barbara. Boston College was last year's runner-up. They are 13-1-1 this year out of Region number 1, a co-champion. They did not allow a goal in the regular season. How about UNC, 11-1-1? They are the Region 2 runner-up. Their only loss in Region 2 was to that regional champion, Georgia. You'll see them coming up in a bracket ahead. UC Santa Barbara rounds out this pool, 6-3-1 this year. They're out of Region number 6. They were the runner-up in the Open division last year. So a number of great teams and runners-up in recent past. All right, Pool C is up next, and that's where you're going to see Georgia. They lead off Pool C at 9-0-2, the Region 2 champ. It's their first tournament appearance since 2017. They're joined by an undefeated Harvard squad at 11-0-2 out of Region number 1, a co-champion. No goals allowed in the regular season for Harvard, and their second tournament appearance here since the last time they were here was in 2021. Cal Poly joins. They are 6-1-1 out of Region number 6. They've had some great success this year. They handed UCLA one of their 2 losses so far this season. Cal Poly, national champion back in 2022. In Pool D, it is Michigan, Northeastern, and WashU St. Louis. Michigan is 13-0-1 this year. They are the Region 3 champion. They had their game-winning goal late in that regional final to defeat Purdue. Northeastern is 12-1-2 this season. They handed BC their only loss up in Region number 2. They were in the championship division last year, so welcome back. And WashU St. Louis, 9-2-1 out of Region 4, were last in the tournament in 2022. All right, moving on to Pool E, and it starts with LSU. They are joined by Colorado State and Arizona State. LSU is 9-0-2 on the season, a co-champion out of Region number 4. They were an Open quarterfinalist last year. It's their first time in the championship side of the bracket. Colorado State, 10-4-1 this year out of Region number 5. They are a championship tournament regular. They made the quarterfinals last year. And Arizona State is 8-2-1 out of Region 6. They were ranked number 1 in their region for most of this season. They're returning after being here last year. Pool F is up next, and it starts off with Colorado, and they are joined by the Tigers of Auburn and the Longhorns of Texas. Colorado is 14-1-2 this season, a tournament regular as well. Their best performance was in the semifinals back in 2017 and also in 2019. Auburn is 7-1-1 this year out of Region 2, the runner-up there. They were perfect until being defeated by Georgia in the regional tournament. And Texas is 8-3-1 out of Region number 4. They've been in the tournament every year since 2010. All right, on to Pool G, the 7th pool in the championship side, and it'll start with Oregon. They are joined by Kansas and Virginia. Oregon is 8-1-1, the Region 6 co-champion out of the north side of that region. They were in the Open semifinals in 21 as well as in 2023 and the championship semis in 2022. Kansas is 11-2-2 this year out of Region number 5. They are a tournament regular. They've been in the tournament every year since 2012. And how about the Virginia Cavaliers, 6-1-1 this season. Region 2 is where they're coming from, and they were a quarterfinalist in the championship division last year. Our last pool features Purdue leading it off at 13-1-1, the Region 3 champion this year. No goals allowed in the regular season, so they had a great tournament as well. They have been in the championship tournament for the last couple of years. They were in the semis in 2021. They're joined by Texas A&M at 9-2-0 out of Region number 4. They've got a couple of losses to LSU. That's the only blemish on their schedule this year. They're returning to the championship division after being in an Open last year. And out of Region number 5 is Minnesota, 9-2-1 this year. They are in their 5th straight tournament in the championship division. All right, let's look at all of those once again from the pools from A through H. The top seeds are on the top line: UCLA, Boston College, Georgia, Michigan, LSU, Colorado, Oregon, and Purdue. You can see more of the action and all the information on our website. But the top two teams, as I mentioned, will make the championship division playoffs. We'll talk about that bracket later, but the playoffs will start on Friday. The championship is on Saturday, with the women starting us off at 3 p.m. for their championship, and it's followed by the men's at 5. You can follow all the coverage of the tournament online at NIRSAplay.com or on social media at NIRSAChamp. All right, now it's time to take a pause. We'll have some more pools coming up, but first down to Gainesville, where Marty Dempsey is standing by with a special guest. Marty?
Thanks, Dave. Coming at you live from the Gainesville studios. My name is Marty Dempsey from the University of Florida, and I'm joined by my first very special guest, Eleni Vodantis from UC Santa Barbara. Welcome to the show, Eleni.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you just got to learn about your pool. So you were playing against North Carolina and Boston College, two teams that you are very familiar with. You played against them as freshmen in this very tournament, knocking out BC before finally losing to North Carolina in the semifinals. So what does it mean to you, where you can kind of bookend your college experience playing these teams as freshmen and then in your final year as a senior this year at this tournament?
Yeah, it means a lot. It really shows how the tournament goes full circle. I played both those teams freshman year, and I'm going to be back playing them as a senior. We're really excited to play UNC again, just because we got knocked out in the semis in 2021. And it's also great to see BC again. They were a really tough team, and we really came together that game my freshman year. Also, like, we've grown a lot as a program, so it'll be great to play them as a freshman and as a senior and see how much we've changed and grown throughout the years.
Speaking of retribution, trying to get this just in regionals, you got some revenge on San Diego State. Lost to them last year in the open finals. This year, you got them in the semifinals of your regional before playing UCLA and coming up just short in the regional tournament. So, talk to us through your road to regionals and how well that is. There's a lot of great teams in California, a lot of championship tradition out there. What has that done for your preparation for the national tournament?
Yeah, so it always feels great to play SDSU. We knock them out in PKs, which is always a big event when we're playing. But that always feels good just because we lost them in the open division last year, came as runner-ups. Our road to regionals is always really competitive. We play Cal Poly and UCLA, especially both of those teams have won the national championship in the last 2 years. We ended up knocking out Cal Poly in pool play of regionals, which always feels great just because we have such a high competition and level with them. We always feel that we play our best when we play Cal Poly, because those are like our school rivals. And UCLA's wonderful too. They knocked us out and they won the regional championship. But it just shows how high the competition is in California. Like, all of the teams are great and have a lot of good history and good legacies. So our road to regionals really prepares us for all the other schools around the country, and we really feel like we can keep that high level and bring the history from California.
Yeah, speaking of that history of California, UC Santa Barbara is no stranger to championship titles in this tournament. Your team won 5 in a row from 2007 to 2011, went back-to-back again in 2016 and 17, so 7 national championships in the NIRSA soccer. What does that tradition and history mean for the current squad as you look to recapture that glory from just, a few years ago?
Yeah. Our program is strong. We've got a lot of history. We've got a really strong legacy to live up to. On all of our warm-ups and our jackets and our sweatshirts, we have 7 stars to represent the 7 championships that we've won. So whenever we're playing, whenever we have that gear on, we always are like, let's get another star. Let's be the team to add 1 more star to our jackets. It's just a big role to fill up to, because our team has been so successful in the past, but we know that we can do it. We know we want to keep the legacy of our program strong. We really want to get another star this year.
Well, no doubt. And I'm sure that this year's squad will certainly compete for that 8th star. And I know as you're preparing for games, you have some unique, kind of ways to get hyped. So talk us through a little bit about how you get hyped for a game.
Yeah, we really love our pregame music. So every single game, we have the same playlist that we play, no matter who we're playing, no matter what tournament it is, we have the same songs. So we like to keep some consistency with our games, get us all in the same mindset. Additionally, whenever we're driving to tournaments, whoever's in your car chooses your song that's really going to get you hyped and motivated. And when your song is playing, everyone in the car is going crazy for you. And we listen to those same playlists of songs driving to every single game. So we really get in the mindset, we get prepared, and we get excited.
That's awesome. Eleni, you've been the center mid for UCSB for now 4 years, and you've been at this national tournament. This will be your fourth and final time. What is one memory that you will take home with you long after your career is done at Santa Barbara?
My first year going when I was a freshman, I was so excited but so confused. I didn't really know what club soccer was all about. The tournament was in Alabama, and I can just remember pulling up in we get minivans, which is kind of funny. I know a lot of teams get some cooler vans, but we pull up in mom minivans. But it's always fun because we play in our hype music, and that first game, we all get out the windows, we all pop out the sunroof. I know other teams hate to see us coming. We're just having so much fun when we pull up to the tournament, and that's like one memory that I'll really remember, that first tournament pulling up to play in group play.
Nothing like blasting the hype music in a minivan with the sunroof open.
That's right.
Strikes intimidation in the in your opponents. So, well, love it. Hey, good luck to you this year. I'm sure you'll do great. Round Rock, Texas, right around the corner. Let's learn a little bit more about our women's pools. We still have the open division to find out about. So, Dave, back to you.
Thanks very much, Marty. We'll stay with the women's side, but we'll move to the open division. And the 24 teams here were part of a lottery draw process, and that's how they'll make it to the tournament. We have 6 pools on the open side. There are 4 teams in each. The top team moves on to the open playoffs. There'll also be 2 wild cards to make an 8-team bracket, which is slotted by our tournament directors there at the tournament. So that's how the open side of this championship tournament will work. The Opens division, however, starts with 4 teams in Pool A, and it begins with the Vermont Catamounts. It's their 3rd straight Open Division opportunity. They're joined by the Anteaters from UC Irvine, the Ore Diggers from Colorado School of Mines, their 4th straight Open tournament, and the Tigers of Mizzou. They're also back in Open after 4 years in the championship division. Pool B includes the James Madison Dukes, the Villanova Wildcats, the UC Davis Aggies, and the Falcons from Air Force. James Madison is an Open Division champion back in 2021. They made the Open semis in 2022. It's the first tournament appearance since 2019 for the Villanova Wildcats. UC Davis was in the championship side in years past. They were in the quarterfinals last year, though, in Open, and Air Force Falcons are back. Their last appearance was in 2019. Pool C starts off with the Bulldogs from Butler, the Pirates of East Carolina, the Temple Owls, and the Green Team out of Oregon. They're, of course, the Ducks. Butler was in the tournament in 2021 on the Open side. The East Carolina Pirates, the Open runner-up back in 2019, and it's the first tournament appearance for Temple. Pool D includes the Aggies from Texas A&M Galveston, the Grizzlies of Oakland University, the Hokies from Virginia Tech, and the Orange of Syracuse. Texas A&M Galveston was in the Open division for 2019 as well as 2021. Oakland was here last year on the Open side. And Virginia Tech is a tournament regular. They've been in every tournament since 2010. They were the Open champion in 2016. All right, on to Pool E, and it begins with Iowa State. The Cyclones are there, their 8th straight tournament appearance. They're joined by the Red Raiders of Texas Tech, the Fighting Illini of Illinois, and the Knights of UCF. UCF was an Open Division quarterfinalist last year, and the Illini have been in the tournament every year for the last decade. They won the Open title way back in 2010. And our last pool for Women's Open, it includes Rhode Island, the Rams, alongside the Buffaloes of Colorado, the black team there, Arkansas on the Razorbacks, and the Chippewas of Central Michigan. It's the first NIRSA tournament appearance for the Rhode Island Rams, the 4th tournament appearance, however, for Arkansas, and Central Michigan was last here in 2019. All right, let's look at all those pools once again with the recap from Pool A to Pool H. You will see that the top team, as I mentioned, will move on along with 2 wild cards to the playoffs. The final for the Women's Open Division takes place on Saturday at 1 p.m. Central. You can follow all the coverage from the tournament from the opening kick to the final whistle online at NIRSAplay.com or on social media at NIRSAChamp. We've got the men's side of the bracket coming up right after this. Welcome back to the road to the 30th annual NIRSA National Soccer Championships in Round Rock, Texas, coming up November 21st through 23rd. It's time to switch gears and go over to the men's side of the bracket. We'll start with the championship division here. 24 teams that have qualified through regional tournament performances or are at-large selections. And here on the championship division side, we've got 8 total pools, 3 teams in each. The top 2 make it into the playoffs. The third place team will move into a consolation bracket to continue their tournament experience separately. Pool A starts off with our reigning national champions. In fact, 4-time defending national champ BYU, perfect on the season once again out of region number 5. They are 11-0 this season. In fact, they've won 5 of the last 6 championship division titles here with NIRSA. They're joined by Boston University at 10-2 this season out of region 1, and Nebraska 6-4 out of region number 5. For both of those teams, it's their first NIRSA tournament experience. Pool B heads off with Ohio State. They are a Region 3 co-champion. They made the championship semifinals in 2023, and they won the championship title 10 years ago in 2014. They're 13-0-1 this year. Georgia Tech joins them at 9-2-1 out of Region 2, a runner-up there. Their only loss was UCF in the Region 2 final. You'll see UCF coming up in another bracket. They were a championship quarterfinal last year. And Tulsa joins 6-3 this season out of Region number 4. It's their first tournament appearance with us here in NIRSA. Pool C leads off with UCF. Those Knights are here. They're joined by Grand Canyon and UC San Diego. UCF is 12-0-1 on the season. As I mentioned, the Region 2 champion this year. They just allowed 1 goal all year, so doing great on the defensive side of the ball. Grand Canyon 9-2-2 out of Region number 5, was undefeated during regular season play this year. And UC San Diego at 7-3-2 is coming out of the south side of Region number 6. They were last in the tournament in 2017. Pool D starts off with Rutgers, the Region 1 co-champion, undefeated this year at 14-0-1. It's their third straight tournament appearance on the championship side. They made the quarterfinals last year. The Longhorns of Texas joined them out of Region number 4. They are 5-2-4 this season. They've been in every tournament since 2010. In fact, they made the semifinals in 2022 and were the championship runner-up in 2021. Miami of Ohio joins here in pool number 4, or D that is. They're 11-1-4 this season out of region number 3. They were the Open champion last year and the Open runner-up in 2022, so a lot of championship experience for all the teams here in Pool D. In Pool E, it leads off with the Buffaloes of Colorado. They are 11-2-0 this season out of region number 5, another team that was undefeated within their region during the regular season. Joined by Michigan at 10-2-2 out of region 3, a championship quarterfinalist last year. And North Carolina, the Tar Heels, are a regular in the tournament. They are 7-1-3 this season out of region number 2. They were the runner-up back in 2018. In Pool F, it's the Ducks of Oregon at 8-0-1, a co-champion out of Region 6. In fact, out of the north side there, they've been in the last 3 NIRSA tournaments. Joined by Indiana, having a great season at 12-1-1, a Region 3 co-champion. They were in the championship tournament last year, so welcome back. And the Aggies of Texas A&M at 8-2-1 and out of Region 4. They've got a couple of key victories over their rival this year, Texas. They were last in the championship division 2 years ago, back in 2022. Next up in Pool G, it's St. Louis. They are joined by Virginia Tech and Tufts. St. Louis is 9-2-2 this season. It's their first tournament appearance since 2016. They're coming to us out of region number 4. Virginia Tech at 9-1-0 is coming out of region 2. They were a champion runner-up last year. And Tufts 10-1-2 this season, a great season so far for them out of region number 1. They were quarterfinalists in our tournament back in 2021. In Pool H, the last pool for our men's championship division, starts off with Delaware. Cal Poly and Illinois will join here in Pool H. Delaware is 12-2-1 this season. They are a co-champion out of region number 1. They were last in the tournament 2 years ago in 2022 and made the championship semifinals in 2019. Cal Poly is 6-2-1 this season out of the south side of region number 6. They were an Open quarterfinalist for the last 2 years. And Illinois at 10-1-2 is a championship quarterfinalist from 2022. They're coming to us out of region number 3. All right, let's look at all of those pools once again from Pool A to Pool H. As I mentioned, the top 2 teams from each of these pools will advance to the championship division brackets to play for that national title. The third place team moves on to a consolation bracket separately. The top line on all these pools are your top seeds. They include BYU, Ohio State, UCF, Rutgers, Colorado, Oregon, St. Louis, and Delaware. The championship playoffs get underway on Friday. They continue Saturday with the championship match for this division at 5 p.m. Central Time. You can follow the coverage online at nirsaplay.com or on social media at NIRSAChamp. We've got one more set of pools to go, but first we're going to go back down to Marty Dempsey in Gainesville with yet another special guest. Marty?
All right, thanks, Dave. We've heard a little bit now, half the men's pool, as you've just seen the championship division. I'm here with a very special guest, Sean Robinson. He is a winger from Purdue University. Welcome to the show, Sean.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Purdue has qualified now for this championship. Sean, you're a senior. You've been there all 4 years, right? To the championships for NIRSA soccer. Excited to be back, I am sure, and you've been certainly battle tested as you've gotten into this year. Coming from Region 3, where we know there's a lot of strong teams. In fact, so much so you played the regional champs, both Ohio State and Indiana, and you took them the full distance to penalty kicks both times. So, Sean, how does playing a tough schedule throughout the regionals help prepare you for the national soccer tournament?
Yeah, so not even just at the regional tournament, our conference alone is very tough. We've got some very strong schools in IU, in Dayton, in Notre Dame, and playing those teams throughout the season really gets us in the mindset of, okay, these are the tough teams that you're going to have to beat. These are the teams that you're going to play at a national level competition. And then coming into regionals, we in the past have not done quite so hot, so we came in with a bit of a chip on our shoulder. We wanted to get some results, and on day one, we accomplished that. We got 2 wins against Western Michigan and La Crosse. And then the next morning we played the top seed in our region, Ohio State. And we took them, like you said, all the way to penalties, 0-0 all the way through. A little bit of a nerve-wracking game, and then their keeper stepped up and made 2 saves, and unfortunately knocked us out. But we are very happy with that result. But yeah, playing those really tough teams throughout the season and being able to get good results, we feel has really prepared us for playing in Round Rock in November.
And the preparation, it's tough throughout the year. Not only are you a student, you've got a large team, you've got to prepare both on and off the field, right? Because the team camaraderie off the field just as important as making sure that, the execution of soccer, works really well when you're on the pitch. So can you talk to us a little bit about how do you all prepare for big tournaments like nationals?
Sure. So in terms of the soccer side of things, we keep our same practice schedule, but we also get some extra time on the official like Purdue athletics facilities. And that's because of the relationship that we have with the women's varsity team. We actually serve as practice players for them throughout the season. Just their coach says, hey, we're playing Michigan. They show up in this formation and we step out in that formation for them. But now that their season has come to a close, we have 2 weeks until the national tournament, and he's offered like, hey, you guys can come and scrimmage us. And that's a great way to play a very good team. It's very good tactically and technically. So that's one aspect. And then in terms of off the field things, typically the weekend right before we head out to Round Rock, we have a former player who lives in the area, and he hosts the whole team, and we go over and we have a little FIFA tournament and a little foosball tournament. Usually that gets pretty competitive, but it's a good time. It's a good bonding moment for everybody. So yeah, those are the 2 things that we do on and off the field just to get ready for nationals.
How's your FIFA skills? What team do you use?
Oh, I am not in contention for winning. I'm just happy to be there. But I typically go with Arsenal. I am an Arsenal fan, so kind of rep my team, but I'm not competing to win.
I still think you'd beat me. So in fact, my 8-year-old beats me in FIFA. So, all right. So, talking about your pools. So you're getting an opportunity to learn about your pools now, where in the open division, you'll play Colorado, who has been in the championship division each of the last 7 years, all the way back to 2016. So they are a very veteran team that has been there. You'll have Arkansas, which a little bit newer to it. They're making their first appearance since 2019 at the national tournament. And then Weber State, who made it all the way to the quarterfinals in the open division last year. So a mix of different experiences that you'll have with your competitors. You haven't played any of them this year or any time over the last couple of years. So what do you do when you have these new teams? How do you get prepared when there's not that familiarity because you're not in the same division, you're not in the same region?
Yeah. So I think first things first, you just go find their results page on their website, on their Instagram, something like that. Just take a quick look, like, hey, does this team just score a lot? Do they tend to concede a lot? Are they a rock solid defense that doesn't concede at all? And you also keep your eye out, like, hey, do they have like a 6'9" forward who's just going to get every cross that goes in the box. Just figure out those things you need to pay attention to. But at the same time, we feel pretty prepared for any of these teams, given our tough schedule this year. So we're not putting all our eggs into one basket trying to scout these teams out and perfectly scheme against each one of them. But we'll keep an eye out. And then we use a VO camera, one of those live streaming cameras that not only live streams but then posts a recording of the games. So we'll go check and see if they have some recordings up that we could maybe take a glance at.
They might be doing the same with you. So Sean, a big part of your role with the team is not only are you a winger and a veteran on the team, on the field, but you also serve as the president off the field. And that is a big responsibility as you're really running an organization that has to fundraise, that has to communicate, that has to schedule, that does a lot of these things for themselves, as of course being part of the sport club world. You're also an economics major, and I'm curious, like, what are some of the things and skills and experiences that you have gained through being a part of this sport club that you look forward to using in your career later in life, past Purdue?
Yeah. I mean, obviously from the jump, you can say things like teamwork and working with that group of officers that you have around you. I have a handful of other officers who all have their own roles. So, like learning to delegate and pass things off to them and check in, like, hey, how you doing here? What are you doing with this project? But also there's just a lot of things that I had not experienced before that I feel are very much more like a real job. Like anytime we need to purchase something for the club, there's this process that I have to go through. Like I have to put in a request and get this approved by this group. And then things like scheduling where you've got 4 different voices all trying to have their say and like, hey, we need this game at this time. We need it here. Really putting all those things together has probably actually been the biggest responsibility and probably biggest challenge throughout this semester is actually scheduling games and scheduling refs. And sometimes you have some challenges where there's some scheduling issues that may arise, and working through those things are definitely things like being adaptable and being able to work with groups is probably the biggest things that I will take away. But also just working with the group and being like in charge of the behind the scenes things that don't exactly get seen by every player, but a lot of the administrative stuff, I feel like I've really learned a lot, and I feel like those skills would translate over to a more corporate setting.
Gives you an appreciation of what goes on behind the scenes in a lot of different, whether it's professional sports or, like you said, in a business corporate setting as well, and a lot to make the magic happen, in front of the crowd, if you will. Last question I have for you is, this being your 4th and final NIRSA Championship Series national tournament, what do you enjoy most about participating in this particular event?
Oh, it is the thing I look forward to every fall semester. Like you mentioned, I've had the privilege of going the past 4 years, and every year it's just a blast. We've had some years where we make it out of the group stage and maybe play a quarterfinal and get matched up against a tough team and maybe don't make it quite as far. But then you have years like last year where we made it to the championship, and unfortunately fell to Miami. But either way, it's a great time, and you're in Round Rock, Texas, with a bunch of guys who all care about the same thing, and we do have a great group of guys. I can't wait to be down there with them. But yeah, I would say my favorite part of being in Round Rock is just hanging out with the team, and a lot of the off the field stuff is my favorite thing.
Well, Sean Robinson and the Purdue men's soccer team finished 2nd last year, looking to improve on it. There's only one more place to go, and that's bringing home the championship. Good luck to you, Sean, this year in Round Rock. Have a great time, and thanks for being here with us.
Thank you.
All right, Dave, we've got a little bit more to learn, including about the rest of the open pools. So back to you, Dave, with the rest of the men's side.
Thanks again, Marty. Well, just one division remains here for the NIRSA National Soccer Championships, and that's the men's open division. 24 teams, 6 pools, 4 teams in each. The top team moves on to the open playoffs, along with 2 wild cards that are determined by performance at the tournament, and the selections are made on site for an 8-team bracket on our open division side. But first, we're going to get through those pools, and so let's start with Pool A in the men's open, and it begins with the Nittany Lions of Penn State. They are joined by the Trojans of Southern California, Iowa State Cyclones, and the Jayhawks from Kansas. Penn State was an open champion back in 2016. They'll try again this season. Southern Cal was last in the championship tournament in 2022, so welcome to the open side. It's the 3rd straight open tournament for Iowa State and the 6th straight open tournament for Kansas. In fact, the Jayhawks were in the quarterfinals last year. Pool B starts off with the Panthers of High Point. It's the Pioneers from Sacred Heart, the UC Santa Barbara Gauchos, and the Minnesota Golden Gophers. It's the 4th Open Tournament appearance for High Point, the first one ever for Sacred Heart. UC Santa Barbara is back. Their last appearance with NIRSA was in the championship side in 2021, and Minnesota has been in the last 4 championship tournaments. Welcome to the Open Division this year to the Golden Gophers. All right, moving on to Pool C, and it'll start with Texas Tech. And the Red Raiders will be there in Pool C, joined by the Dukes of James Madison, the Bears from Brown, and the Aztecs from San Diego State. It's the first open appearance after 5 championship tournaments for the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. James Madison was in the Open Division last year. In fact, they made the semifinals in 2018 and 2019. And the Aztecs are back. Their last appearance was in 2021 on the Open side. It's the first ever appearance for Brown. Pool D leads off with the Tigers of Missouri. They're joined by Grand Valley State, the Lakers, alongside the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest, and the Huskies from UConn. Missouri was in the championship side last year. They were in the Open semis, however, the year before in 2022. It's the first tournament appearance since the Open Division opportunity in 2019 for the Lakers of Grand Valley State. Wake Forest is here, the first time ever, and the UConn Huskies have been in the championship tournament for the last couple of years. We welcome this year to the Open side. All right, Pool E will begin with the Mavericks from Nebraska Omaha in their first ever NIRSA tournament appearance. They're joined by the Tigers of LSU, the Cincinnati Bearcats, and the College of Charleston Cougars. The Tigers have been in the Open Division for the last 5 years, so this will make it 6 in a row. For the Bearcats from Cincinnati, they were in the Open semifinals for the last 2 years, and Charleston is making its first appearance in the NIRSA tournament. And the final pool is Pool F, and it starts with Weber State and the Wildcats, the Razorbacks from Arkansas, the Fighting Illini from Illinois, and the Buffaloes out of Colorado. We welcome Arkansas to their first tournament since 2019, and the Illini were in the championship division for the last couple of years, but they made the quarterfinals in Open back in 2021. All right, let's look at all of those pools once again from Pool A to Pool H. As I mentioned, the top team, along with 2 wild cards, will make the playoffs. The championship for Men's Open comes up on Saturday at 1 o'clock, and as always, you can follow along with any changes to the tournament schedule. You can check that out on NIRSAplay.com or follow along on social media at NIRSAChamp. Now that you've seen the pool play lineup, let's talk about playoff qualification. As I mentioned in our Open Division, it's 6 pool champions and 2 wild cards. There's no predetermined brackets, just an 8-team bracket. It'll be slotted by the tournament administrators on site based on tournament performance of those pool champs and the 2 wild cards. But take a look here at the championship division that is already predetermined based on your pool and if you're a champion or a runner-up. You'll see that, for example, on the upper left, the champion of Pool A, first place team, will play the runner-up or the second place team from Pool D. And then an H champion plays the runner-up from E and so forth on the left side. You'll see the other champions and runners-up on the right side of the bracket. All of this will converge onto the championship division finals. For the women, that's at 3 p.m. Central. For the men, that is at 5 p.m. Central. And you can certainly follow the coverage there on our website to keep track of what's happening and who's making each one of those rounds, both on NIRSAplay.com as well as on social media at NIRSAChamp. But now let's move on to some final reminders for you as you get ready for the tournament. Captains, make sure you review the email from NIRSA headquarters with all the tournament details. It includes information about that player certification form, which needs to be uploaded electronically, but then you still have to bring the original to the tournament. And so make sure you have all of that and a couple of other checklist items. It's in that email to our team captains. We'll have tournament gear on site, so if you're looking for a long sleeve or a short sleeve t-shirt or maybe a hoodie, that's all available there for purchase. We'll have concessions as well. And if you need to take a test, captains, players, anything like that, we actually do exam proctoring. You can learn about that in our captain's email as well, but you can see how you can get registered and make sure that your players can keep up with their academics too. Check-in for all teams occurs on Wednesday, November the 20th between 4 and 7 p.m. Central Time at the Round Rock Multipurpose Complex. Just one person needs to be there, and you'll again see what's required in that captain's email. But if you're not going to be there or you're going to be late, make sure you email us because, yes, there is an actual fine if you don't show up for check-in that night. So make sure you've prearranged to be late or just show up 4 to 7 Central there at the Round Rock Multipurpose Complex. There's no captain's meeting, but our directors of competition will be on site there at check-in to answer any of your questions. If you need practice time, it's available on Wednesday between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m., again, at the Round Rock Multipurpose Complex. There are 1-hour practice times. You can sign up for those using the link in the captain's email. Now, matches get started as early as 8 o'clock on Thursday. The playoffs will begin on Friday. They continue into Saturday. Make sure that all of your players have photo ID because that's what it takes to get checked in. And you can win some prizes outside of just the championship. You can catch up with our juggling contest. It'll take place throughout the day on Friday. So between matches, stop by the tournament desk and see how you can enter to win. If you need some pregame taping, some pre-wrap, that sort of stuff, we'll have athletic trainers on site to help out with that, but please bring your own pre-wrap and tape. That's certainly helpful. There is a spectator entry fee, which is $10 per day or $25 for a pass for the entire tournament. It's cheaper for seniors over 60 and actually free for kids 12 and under. Now, pre-sales are available. There's a link in the email to team captains, and then if you buy those ahead of time, you can just pick them up at check-in and distribute those to your fans. They can buy on site, but it's a little faster to pre-order. Follow all the action online this year, as always, at NIRSAplay.com or on social media at NIRSAChamp. You can tune into live broadcasts of our finals on Saturday, the Open Division at 1 p.m. Central for both men and women, and then the Women's Championship Final is at 3 p.m. The Men's Championship Division Final is at 5 o'clock. Thanks once again to Marty Dempsey down at the University of Florida. Production assistance today here at Florida State by Max Mitchell. Safe travels to all of our teams as you head out to Texas, and good luck. We'll see you in Round Rock for the 30th Annual NIRSA National Soccer Championships. I'm David Peters, and this is a production of NIRSA, Leaders in Collegiate Recreation.